You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast, and we're going to break one more down to you tonight. Let me tell you what's going on. The NFL, I got a little bit of insider trading going on. The NFL has created a loophole that allows the owners of the NFL to hire their coaches immediately. And with this, I'm going to make a particular directed to Mr. David Tepper, Carolina Panthers owner. Don't wait. This inside information, inside trading information is better than you can believe, and already you've seen Robert Kraft exercise it. Here's what I got, folks, that I found is a loophole and can get you going right away. You can go ahead, utilize the NFL Rooney Rule. And what the NFL is going to allow you to do with this loophole, you're going to be able to go ahead and hire your coach immediately. Now, don't get me wrong, you guys also whacking the fool. I understand, David Tepper had a bad day that day. But here's what Money Mike does. We look at organizations and we look at what can happen. We look at how they're ran, how they're structured. And as you know, me being the dedicated account manager, I'm going to help Mr. Tepper out, because here's what you got. He's a good guy. You know what? And he's down there in Charlotte, North Carolina. And man, oh man, that's Chocolate City. So let me tell you what's going on here. And David Tepper, you get this one for free. If you need my help, give me a call. I'll come on down. I'll tell you what's something about the beautiful Carolinas. There's a nice little city next to Charlotte, and it's called Harrisburg. And I've looked at Harrisburg, and that's where my new home's going to be from here to North Carolina. So I'm going to go ahead and get that one down there. And it's a beautiful city. So here's what you got. David Tepper, your guy is Sam Wilks. There's Steve Wilks. There's no doubt about it. Wilks is your guy. And let me tell you why Wilks is your guy. And here's what you can do. You can go ahead and call the 49ers. I understand they're still playing, but make Wilks your guy. Get him off the market. Here's why Wilks is your guy. He's the current NFL defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, and that's who's tearing up the league right now. You got DeMarco Ryans is tearing it up. The Miami Dolphins coach is tearing it up. I mean, guys, we're getting it done. And when Aaron Rodgers, my guy, I've known him since he was in high school, middle school, he's going to be back with the Jets, and I'm telling you, Robert Saleh, they're going to get it done. Okay, back to Wilks. Here's what we got. Currently defensive coordinator. He's from West Charlotte, North Carolina. This guy's homegrown, folks. And I'm telling you, you got the University, David Tepper. Here's what you got. You got the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, sitting right there. Man, and it don't get no better than that. You're going to be able to market it. You're going to be able to change the direction of this program. You're going to be able to get Bryce Young, a coach, a father figure, somebody that can take him under the wing. I'm talking about Steve Wilks, man. You got a good one here, and you don't have to wait. That's the most beautiful thing about it. You don't have to go through the search. You don't have to go through the interview processes. When you get somebody homegrown, and folks, this is what I mean, when you get somebody homegrown now, okay, like Steve Wilks, I mean, let's just talk about it. As a coach, you know what, even as a player, he looks like he played for a Charlotte Rage. 1993, he went on to Johnson C. Smith. Now, you know what I say about the universities of historical black colleges, okay? I mean, it's right there. The writing's on the wall. Okay, next stop was at Savannah State, defensive coordinator. Savannah State, head coach, moving on up. Like the Jeffersons, that's Money Mike. We're going to keep it moving on up. Everybody thought he was a defensive back coach, so he went on up there to Illinois State. He coached defensive backs. Then he went to Appalachian State. Man, he coached defensive backs. But guess what? Moved on up to East Tennessee State, defensive coordinator. Start moving it on up in the ranks. Okay, we're going to go from small major, NIA, then we're going to move up to mid, and then we're going to go D1. Here's the next stop, Bowling Green, defensive backs coach. Now we're going to get serious. 2004, Notre Dame, defensive backs coach. Man, this guy knows his DBs. So now we're going to say, hey, after Notre Dame, man, when you get up there with the Irish, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's origination. We're going to fight. We're talking Rudy now. That's the Rudy. That's Notre Dame, okay? So here's what we're going to do after we did that. We said we're going to go on up to the NFL. And Steve Wilks went on up, defensive backs coach up there, secondary with the Washington Commanders, formerly Redskins back then, but they're the Commanders now. All right, so his secondary kind of helping him out, but then he got serious again, went on up to the Chicago Bears, ran that defense. And he's running as a defensive back coach there. San Diego Chargers, defensive back coach. Carolina Panthers, he finally finds it home. And folks, he's been in your organization since 2012. And here's where I'm going with that, with Wilks. Man, those players were so sad to see him leave. Obviously, you went in another direction, Frank Wright. And guys, let me tell you something here. The recycling businesses of coaches, that is the worst business practice that's going on in the NFL. And let me tell you why. Sometimes, even in boxing, everybody has their era. Even in baseball, you have different eras. In football, we have different eras. You can't recycle somebody from an old era to bring them back to a new era and think they're going to be able to communicate with these young minds today. And what do I mean by that? Think of it like this. You know what, my grandparents, you know what, my mother and father wanted to be smarter than them. All right, then they had us, and we wanted to be smarter than the mother and father. And now I have my son, he's son and daughter, they're going to be smarter than I am. That's what you got, folks. If you coached these guys many years ago, these guys coming in today, they've been on Madden, they've been on video games, they know what plays to design. It's a different game. But we ain't going to stop there. We're going to keep it pushing. So here's what we got. We went on up Carolina Panthers, defensive backs coach. Guess what? We moved up in the ranks. Carolina Panthers, 2015, 2016. Put him at the assistant head coach spot. Man, oh man, that's Wilks. I'm telling you, man, this guy's a winner. This guy is a winner. I seen him when the 49er media tried to just strip him down. He looked the 49er media right in the eye, okay, as they tried to harass them. And guess what he told them? He said, let me tell you something. I'm built for this, okay? That's your guy, David Tepper. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to say, let's go ahead and let's do an option here. Let's call it an option call. We don't have no margin that's going to hit, so you're going to be fine. Okay, but if you go ahead and put that option out there and let's run it out for 3-4 years, okay, and I guarantee you this, oh man, when it comes time, you're going to make a pile of money. And the reason I talk to David Tepper like that, because David Tepper's the head coach manager, okay? He's got to anticipate. And the anticipation I'm giving you now is Wilks, okay? This is your guy. Let's keep it bumping here, okay? He was an assistant head coach, defensive back coach, again, 215, 216. Okay, then he's going to come back again, 217. He's going to move on up. Instead of being a defensive back coach, he's going to take a higher position in the organization. And this is happening right there at the Carolina Panthers. Man, when you get a guy homegrown, you don't have to go out and search. You don't have to look around. You got something already built. And that's when they were looking and looking and looking. And you know what? They couldn't find. The guy kept bringing guys out. And he says, man, do you have one more? And he said, yeah, I got one more, but he's small and rowdy or whatever. He's out there tending the sheep. That's what you got. You got Steve Wilks down in San Francisco. He's tending the sheep. Okay? And I'm telling you, when they go out and get him, you bring him back to Carolina, man, this guy's homegrown. And when you come homegrown, man, it don't get no better than that, okay? Think about it. The same thing with Shanahan. He's homegrown. Where do you think Mike Shanahan was when the 49ers won a Super Bowl? He's with the San Francisco 49ers. He just went back home. All right, so let's keep it pushing. So finally, Wilks moves up from the assistant head defensive backs to the assistant head defensive coordinator. Then he takes the Arizona job for 1 year. Okay, that was a complete mess. What does he do? He says, man, I got to go back home. He circles back. He comes on back as the defensive coordinator, comes back to the Carolina Panthers again, okay? So you got to understand that after trips with the defensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns, defensive coordinator of Missouri, and then he's back to the Panthers, 2022, defensive passing game coordinator. Then they move him up to interim coach, and guess what? They took Frank Wright. Wasn't the greatest decision. I know it was split down the middle when you first did it, but this time you're going to get it right in Carolina. And David Tepper, let me tell you, you know what? You saved a lot of money whacking the fool. I'm about to put you in check on an organization, man, and you can make this move. Here's the difference. Let me break it down when you can make a move with this loophole in the NFL. And again, you're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast, and we give it to you three ways. We'll either bring you the secret truth behind the scenes or uncut. Here's what we'll always tell you. It's my opinion. But if my opinion becomes truth, right now, like I'm telling you about Steve Wilks, and I'm giving you the facts before they actually happen. And this was what going on. After that, he did the interim head coach, and they actually went with Frank Reich. Guess where he's at? He's back with the San Francisco 49ers, and he's coaching them up. Coaching them up, man. I roll with my defensive guys. And so here's what he can do in Carolina. He's going to embrace Bryce Young. He's going to take him under the wing. He's going to be a father figure. He's going to settle that young man down and tell him his story of being a homegrown in Carolina and being there in Charlotte. And guess what? He's going to do the same. So here's what I'm going to tell everybody on this one as I close. I always got to do another commercial. And folks, understand when I do these commercials, I haven't made a contract yet, but I got to let them know. So here's all the good people up in Hendrick Motorsports and Racing. You know what, down here and all us in the HBCUs, University Historical Black Colleges, especially in Raleigh, North Carolina, and you know I love Hillsburg. Hendrick Racing, man, there's no better place to be. If you go on out there and enjoy that, Hendrick is going to tell you how to do it. And then if you're looking for an automobile, man, there's no better place to go pick it up than Hendrick's Motorsports Racing. Man, they've got a whole allotment of cars. They've got pre-owned. They got everything you need. So Money Mike chooses Hendrick.